what they want about me. I'm high with an empty head. Those black dogs I thought long ago had left well in the past, waking up and tracking me down fast.
My name is 0stella and I am an alternative rock Irish fusion artist living in Edmonton, Alberta in Canada.
In the dark, let 'em say.
My name comes from a PJ Harvey song by the same name, 0stella. I put a 0 there instead of an O to remind me to live zero waste as much as I can. When I started this project, I really wanted it to have an environmental and community aspect to it. So it's there to remind me to try and do things as softly on my environment as possible.
Myself on course, trying to keep this compass pointed north. Well, it's one shot back to my peril and one back to my room. This drink and bed a lie until it's true. Oh, let 'em say what they want about me.
I was born in Dublin, Ireland. I grew up there until my mid-20s and I was in lots of bands over there and only started singing in Irish, in my Irish language, when I moved to Canada, however. I got into music as a default, actually. I studied art in university and along the way in high school, I was just the awkward shy kid who really wanted a main part in the school musicals, but I was too shy to sing for anybody. So I would I would excuse myself from class to go to the bathroom, and I would go down to the locker room where the acoustics were really good, and I would sing to myself down there in the hopes that someone would overhear me. Oh my god, it's so embarrassing. But yeah, and I had really boisterous, outgoing friends who would get picked for the lead roles aside from me because they were loud in the corridors and they made themselves seen. And eventually, anyway, I got voluntold by some friends of mine who had heard me and my antics in locker rooms through the years to join a band, because there was a band of 2 girls, each on guitar, who were writing songs and they were too shy to sing their songs, so they needed a singer to do it for them. So enter me, and we did our first performance for our school of 600 all girls at the end of my final year in school, and my knees were shaking and I stepped down off that stage on cloud 9, and I had all the cool girls coming up to me telling me, "Oh, you look like a famous person up there," and I was just delighted. It was the first time I really felt seen in school, so I was with it. All my previous attempts to make people laugh in drama class, while had been effective, this got people's attention and I just loved it. I was hooked from that moment on.
Before you have to fold, I can see it in your eyes. Sparks don't need a big disguise.
I have learned through the years that having musical idols is a dangerous game. They're great motivation for getting you started in music when you're a kid, but you should very quickly let go of them as much as possible. For me, over the years, they've just transitioned into people I look up to a lot, I really respect in the music industry. When you idol people, you end up sometimes making similar life choices to what they have described them doing, that they did in interviews and that type of thing. Or maybe adopting their worldviews that you're adopting just because you think it's cool. And you find that later down the road you don't at all agree with that. And really, I think it's kind of a bit of a dangerous game to put someone so high on a pedestal like that. Also, because I mean, really, we're all human, and you're just going to get disappointed in the end. I've met some of my idols. I've met Chris Cornell, and I've met Karen O from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. I'm yet to meet Shirley Manson, although I've been 6 degrees of separation from her my whole career. I joined a band in Dublin who had just opened for Garbage in Amsterdam 6 months before. I was gutted. But some of the bands that have inspired me, The Frames from Dublin, Imelda May, also from Dublin. She plays Bowron and sings. Hermitage Green also use Bowron in their band. And really, between Imelda May and Hermitage Green, they really kind of made me take a second look at Bowron as a really fascinating instrument to incorporate into modern music. I love it. Before that, I'd only ever seen it used by the Corrs, who write just killer pop songs. Anyway, I do love the Corrs. Major influence on me, Shirley Manson from Garbage, 100%. The Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and also the Stereophonics. Kelly Jones, I just think, is such an amazing songwriter. I still very much look up to him and his ability to tell a story. So good. I do play guitar. I play guitar now. I had to learn how to play guitar as an adult. Again, I got voluntold by a couple of people in my life after I disbanded my previous band, Burning Daisy. People were just sick of listening to me saying like, oh, I'm gonna do my own thing, blah, blah, blah. And so I entered a songwriter competition, and the longest they could give me was 30 days to the next competition date. So I had 30 days to learn how to play guitar, how to play and sing it with guitar, and to write 20 minutes worth of original material, then perform the whole thing in front of a live audience. That is how I operate. Yes, I do play other instruments. I play piano, I play a little bit of bass. Nothing that I would do on stage necessarily, and I'm learning Bowron as well. I had an amazing Bowron player on Pendulum State called Romano Danilo, and he just did some amazing stuff, and I've been getting Bowron lessons for over the last year or so, and skills are coming along. Someday I will play them the Bowron parts on stage. I have had professional singing lessons my whole life to varying degrees of success with my teachers. My first experience of professional singing teacher tried to kiss me in his music studio around Christmas time with a piece of mistletoe, and that was all kinds of awkward. Then I found an amazing jazz vocalist who became a great mentor for getting me moving on songwriting in Dublin. Shout out to Megan Albany. And then from there, a couple of other people that I worked with, and I have my one and most favorite voice teacher right now that I've been working with for 10 years, and I love her to pieces. Shout out to Carolyn. Hello. I'm a bit of a genre butterfly, I must say, but generally speaking, straight down the middle, I typically aim for alternative rock. If I can't dance and I don't have a guitar melting my face at some point with a thick bass line and drum sound that I can dance to, I'm not happy. Both as an audience member and as a lead singer. If I can't get out and party to my own band with the audience, I've missed the mark, and that's really what I've been working back towards achieving with the 0stella music that I'm making right now, because I used to have that with previous bands like Burning Daisy and in Calgary, and it was a fun time. So yeah, it's been a process to get back there. Yeah, I was involved in lots of other music projects over the years before 0stella, Burning Daisy in Calgary for about 4 or 5 years when I first moved to Alberta, and before that a mishmash of different bands I tried to get off the ground, both originals and covers, in Ottawa, where I lived first in Canada, and then before that I was in a band called House of Cozy Cushions. That was the band that opened for Garbage in Amsterdam, and before that it was a Census, and that was my very first band with my 2 classmates at the end of high school and through university, and we wrote some pretty cool tunes. I am fully independent. I have my own record label that Pendulum State is coming out under, but no, I do all of the things. I don't have a manager, I don't have a booking agent, I just have multiple personalities. I write and compose probably I'd say 50% of my material by myself. Then things can change. Sometimes I start songs entirely with friends. Sometimes I'll bring them half of what I've done and they'll help me evolve it and push it further. Sometimes producers will have a hand in shaping a song. So it really depends on where the song has come from, what shape it's in when it gets to a place, and whether it needs help, whether I feel I need help. I love collaborating with different writers. I find it kicks you into a different area of your brain that you don't typically use, or a different way of looking at things. It just moves things along faster and adds a lot of fresh juice to the smoothie you're used to drinking.
Well, it's one shot back to my barrel, one back to my room. This drink
I have released a couple of mini albums and an EP over the years. Little Yes, Little No came out in 2019. Then the first half of Pendulum State came out in 2022 when I cycled across Canada. That was called Free Fall. And then the second half of it came out in 2023 called Skyward. Where do I get the ideas for my lyrics? What inspires me? I get inspired from all around. Reading books, dialogue from films, overhearing conversations, jotting down quickly stories people have told to me that I find really inspiring. I actually have gotten a lot of inspiration from interviews with people on national radio, like just fascinating stories that I've come across, especially when it relates to Ireland. I've had one song that I've been trying to write for probably 15 years now at the moment, and I just can't figure out a way to do it, inspired by an interview I heard on RTE. And similarly, I wrote a song called Linen, inspired by an interview I heard on RTE. So really, inspiration can come from anywhere.
On the floor, here we go. You ready for the chorus?
Oh God. I think Learn to Roar means the most to me because it is a song about not waiting for permission and realizing your self-worth isn't tied to anybody else or anybody else's opinion of you. And I just think it's such a waste for people to turn down their light based on what they think other people are thinking about them. And we all do it from time to time. And I just love that song because it's a reminder to be big and loud and unafraid, to be unapologetically you in all facets. My favorite song to perform the most kind of changes depending on the atmosphere of the show. I really love performing Linen live, because especially when I'm playing solo, because I'll tell the story beforehand, and I love to see the connection people find in that song. But at the moment, playing with my full band, the one song I'm having the most fun performing is actually Both Hands. I just love it. I really underrated it, honestly, when I recorded it and when I wrote it. And it's just becoming my absolute favourite at the moment.
Next to you, and I liked you just fine then. My eyes cut through you. Could have been a gold mine till you came and told me what you wanna do. Well, take the best from me. Yeah, take the best.
I can't believe I didn't even mention this as an influence, but St. Vincent is an enormous influence on me. I listen to St. Vincent rather obsessively, Paramore as well, just like key songs actually from Paramore. Some bands I just love specific songs. I don't dive too deep into their catalogue, but St. Vincent, I'm into like all the deep cuts, all of her albums. I'm really just now getting into Daddy's Home, which I kind of underrated, and then when I saw her perform it live at Benicassim on stage with that enormous band, it just completely changed my mind on it, and I went back exploring it. Other people that Ronan O'Snuddig and his album that he did with Miles O'Reilly, The Beautiful Road, is just spectacular. It's such a beautiful piece of work. I love it so much. What else am I listening to at the moment? I love Jeff Buckley and Tori Amos and Fiona Apple. Yeah. What else do I love? Soundgarden. What else am I thinking of? Royal Blood. I love. Queens of the Stone Age. Micheal and the Spanks. Sky Wallace. Yeah, those were some big influences on me. Stuff I love to jam to. I've been doing some crazy touring over the last couple of years. Coming out of the pandemic, the back end of the pandemic, I looked around the musical landscape, hated the fact that all my friends were booking tours and having them cancelled last minute because venues had to shut down again. And I thought it was shit and no way to build a business. So through a comedy of errors, I ended up dusting off my bicycle I hadn't really cycled in any serious way for 15 years since I'd moved to Canada. So I spent 2021 training to get back in cycling fitness, I guess. And then I just packed my bags and left. Packed so many bags and had such a heavy bike. I bought a specific touring bike for this Cross Canada tour in 2022, and I released a single a month as well, and booked 60 shows across Canada for myself. I had a lovely little team working with me. Adele McAleer was the project manager on that, keeping everything together. And I had an intern as well working for me, and they just they kept me above water and kept me focused and got me support where I needed it. I was so thankful for those weekly meetings. Oh my God, that was intense. And then I came home, went on a Western Canada tour with Queens and Kings, which was amazing. We used a car for that one because it was November and snowing. And by January I had a concussion and was planning another Cross Canada tour for the second album, mini album, Skyward, and promptly got a concussion in January ice skating. So my plans had to change a lot. I managed to book larger venue shows this time round through BC and a little into Alberta. And then I left from there to Paris. Flew the bike over to Paris, and then I cycled through Europe and got Baron lessons, and had an exquisitely amazing time cycling through Europe in the worst of all possible weather. Like I had orange level storm warnings in Ireland while I was cycling down to Cork. I was the only insane person out on the road, and I was getting drenched by buses and trucks going by me with the puddles they were throwing on me. And the end of that year ended in some family tragedy, but I still managed to get all but 2 shows played in Europe. And I played as far as Prague. I didn't cycle there, obviously, because I had 2 days to get there and 2 days to get back or something crazy before other shows in Europe. But I did bus there. That was the only thing I cheated on. But yeah, no, it's been amazing. And I was supposed to cycle my bike through Ontario last September as well, but I fell off my bicycle 10 days before and bruised my ribs and gouged my elbows, and I didn't really think it was particularly smart to do that with 150 kilometers worth of training that summer in my legs, so I drove that one. But I have more cycling tours in the works at the moment, so watch this space for more crazy adventures from 0stella, and maybe some band members. Eventually I might try to weasel into the game. Yeah, touring by bicycle is no small feat. Touring at all is a big project to undertake, between booking venues and all the rest of it. And I hadn't a notion what I was doing. So I spent 2021 beginning to tell my story on social media as well, to try and get people invested in the concept of insanity. And then I spent the rest of the year interviewing other people who had cycled across Canada to get their take on it. From one of those interviews, I decided that I absolutely needed to have a bicycle with disc brakes on it and not use the one I was going to use. I also went way down the YouTube rabbit hole on self-sufficiency and bushcrafting and camping in reverse order. I started with camping, then went to bushcraft, then went into self-sufficiency from there, because I really didn't know what I was going to come up against, because there was a lot of forest fires wildfires going on around Canada, and I was actually terrified I was going to find myself isolated on a mountaintop, surrounded by flames licking my heels, waiting for a helicopter to lift me out of there, and being like, okay, what do I do in those situations? I was lucky the year I went out, it was actually rain. It was lots of rain. So this Irish girl was well equipped to deal with that. But it still came with a lot of challenges, like dealing with hurricanes. I dealt with 2 hurricanes, the aftermath of one, and I was out in the middle of a hurricane in Belgium as well, cycling over the French border. That was intense. So you can prepare for it lots. I did some weight training, and then you also plan your route to allow your body to adapt. When you know you're going to be out for like 5 to 6 months in one go, you have the room in your schedule to let your body adapt, so you can plan accordingly. So the first 2 weeks I didn't do more than 50 kilometers. The bike in total plus all the bags weighed 192 pounds. So that was a lot. So I really had a lot to learn on the road as well, in terms of technique as well. I burned out my my gear cable within the first 500 kilometers on a brand new bike, which is insane. It should last at least 2,000 kilometers. So there was a lot of like technique issues I had to refine. And then I was blowing out ankles and knees and all sorts of things. And by the time I reached Ontario, I got some really key tips from another cyclist that helped me through a lot in terms of cadence control and stuff like that. So there was a lot to learn, to prepare for. And then obviously the music side of it, I couldn't actually book any shows in advance, too far in advance, because the first year out, I didn't know how long it was going to take me to get across any of the terrain. And I didn't want to sully my reputation with bookers. So I focused on predominantly booking house concerts and that type of thing. And it was like the back end of the pandemic too. So it was the most palatable for everyone across the country too. They could control who was in their environment and that type of thing. So, and then further on the music side, there was the scheduling of all of the singles that were coming out off of the album as well, trying to organize press equally. So I essentially would book 2 weeks in advance for shows and accommodation, and then I would plan to be in major cities for 4 to 7 days at a go, to give me enough time to sit down for one day and just throw out a bazillion other emails to the next city over to start booking shows, to sort out accommodation. And the biggest resource for me was warm showers, which gives you a network of cyclists and cycling enthusiasts across the country, across the world, who can offer you accommodation. So I'm forever in debt to warm showers for hooking me up with so many amazing souls across the country and across Europe, like phenomenal people.
Throw it all away. The words you won't keep, yeah, they're digging in deep. I hear you, do you hear me? Or is it all distorted love? Fighting, 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 fighting to get along. Another scene on
I actually came to Europe on tour for the very first time in 2018, and that was absolutely insane because I had just decided to go solo at that point and didn't have so much as a website or a demo recorded in January when I decided I was going to Europe in June to tour. And I was only 6 months playing guitar at that point. So it took a few years plus a pandemic for my brain to really recover from that PTSD of just doing everything at once right now. So yeah, it took until 2023 to come back to Europe. And in fact, when I went to Europe that first time, 2018, I was under my first solo name, which was Leroy. Anyway, came back as 0stella 2023, and I loved it. I loved it so much. Oh my God. I had really planned on going down to Italy if I could make it that far, but really France, Spain, Portugal as well on that trip to start writing the next album, which was inspired by my cross Canada cycle. But due to family things changing, I had to come home, so that didn't happen. But I did get to play Germany for the first time in the spring of 2024, and the Germans just blew me away. I mean, the fact, Micheal, you came all the way to the Netherlands to see me play in Breda, and where else did you come? Was it Utrecht? I forget now. Sorry, it wasn't Utrecht. Where did I see you, Micheal? Maybe Haarlem. Was it Haarlem? Anyway, you saw me in 2 different places, and it just like it. I was thrilled. I was so thrilled to see you there, and then to be able to come in April 24 and actually play Germany and see you on your home soil. That was super cool, and I cannot wait to get back to Europe, back to Germany. I'm trying my hardest.
And turn it back around. Those winds are gonna bend and turn it back around. You gotta hold on both hands. I've seen you fold.
I like Canada because you're only dealing with one currency and one ecosystem for booking shows. That being said, I love playing Europe. Oh my God. Germany is amazing for its audiences and its hospitality from its venues and its bookers. Same goes for the Netherlands. It was Leiden, Micheal, where you came to see me in the Netherlands as well. You saw me in Leiden and Breda because connected me with Ariane in Leiden. That was honestly one of the best shows I played in terms of hospitality from the venue and the booker, and the show, the lineup I got to play with, and everything about it was just magic. I can't wait to go back to the Netherlands. I had so many amazing people reach out to me and be incredibly generous in terms of host families that I stayed with as well as venues. And the audiences are really, really, really enthusiastic there too. I played some amazing house concerts as well where people would just buy all of everything I had. Same thing in Belgium. I was super surprised in Belgium. I played the Black Flamingo and people were just insanely positive and stoked on the music. I just loved it. Ireland, of course, is great fun to play. I will play there any chance I get, any excuse to go home. I love it. You're gonna have to wait for the book. Honestly, it was 6 months of touring both tours, really, all in all. So there's so much to pull from. Things that pop out in my head, meeting a heart transplant survivor early on in my trip, who was so encouraging of me to use my healthy, strong body for all I could get out of it, really. She was so buzzed to meet me and to hear my story and to hear what I was doing. And she got a second chance at life through a heart transplant. And she just filled me with so much enthusiasm for what my body was capable of doing. That was really, really special. It was so cool to hear her story. I had a woman come up to me in Tilburg in the Netherlands and tell me how amazing I was before saying that her story doesn't count, that she doesn't really have a story worth talking about. And then she proceeded to tell me this unbelievable story about things she had to overcome in her life that just blew me away. like blew me away. So she was incredible to meet. You know, having to saw my way through with a pocket hand saw, clearing a trail for my bike to get through, and then meeting a bear, and then having to sprint out of there as fast as my legs could carry me was insane. Seeing a mountain lion, seeing wolves. There's some very strange experiences. There's just so much. and then just sitting on Inishmore, one of the Aran Islands, on the beach, playing Baron to myself, looking out on this spectacular sunset. Just so many things blew my mind on those 2 tours. I could be here for days talking about it.
From the bonds that hold me fast and chains all around me will fall away at last. And on that fine and faithful day, I will take thee in my hand.
Yeah, cycling across the country as a solo woman, across multiple countries, is really dangerous. But you learn to listen to your gut. I typically have a very good relationship with my gut. It's gotten me out of a lot of places, and I travel with protection clipped to my hip the whole time. And there was a lot of people that commented on that, asking me what it was for, 4 legs or 2, and I would always reply, whatever needs it, and that kept me pretty safe. I also had a Garmin InReach as well, so I could keep my team and my family abreast of where I was all of the time, with 10-minute increments across the entire world. So they knew where I was at any given time, and it allowed me to make an SOS call as well if I needed to. So that was really good.
Mistletoe above the door, tinsel has been tossed. I've been waiting round all year to be your Mrs. Claus.
I am very grateful to have musical influences on me, like Shirley Manson and Jenny Beth as well, and Chrissie Hynde and Patti Smith. They're all women that continued, and Debbie Harry. Like, I saw Garbage open for Blondie in Vegas in 2019, and she just blew everyone away. She was in her 60s or 70s at that point, and phenomenal stuff. I think my mother was a really strong woman as well, and a bit of a pioneer in her field as well, just like all those musicians I mentioned. And there's going to be obstacles for everybody, I feel, regardless of who you are or where you're from. A lot of it is dependent on the cultural climate at the time. It is absolutely true, and I will never contest the fact that women have had enormous obstacles from every angle since the dawn of time, really, in the music industry. There are things that are improving about it, and there's still lots of work to be done. And I think I was in kind of like a special situation in previous bands, because I was in bands with nothing but boys, and it was like traveling with a big pack of older brothers that would look after you all the time. So I didn't experience too many situations where I felt belittled or diminished or anything, like in a sound check situation or anything like that. But since going solo, I've had a lot more experiences of wide-ranging varieties. I think these days is probably the best time to be a woman in the music industry when you're not 19, and looking at going into decades ahead of me. I don't really care. I really don't care, honestly. And the older I get, the fewer fucks I have to give, really. And I'll continue making music one way or another. And whoever wants to buy it, can buy it. And I'll play shows for whoever wants to show up. And beyond that, because I'm independent, I don't really care. If I can pay to eat and live and keep a roof over my head, I don't really care if somebody thinks I'm too old to be doing my job. Since when has that ever been a thing, other than like maybe a fireman who gets too old to lift a person out of a burning building? Beyond that, you can go and take your opinions and go the fuck home, is my opinion. I will also add that yes, the darker side of being a woman in the music industry does exist. I have experience with that. And anything I want to share about that has already been put down into song. You know who you are. And yeah, I just think karma's a bitch, really. And I'm certainly not in the mood for taking any more of it. And if I see it happening, I'm not in the mood to take that either. So you'll know about it. Which I think is just something every decent human being should be saying anyway, no matter where you see that behaviour occur. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Beware. With social media, I think it's a great tool that we have access to. It's really challenging at the moment, but there's always going to be a challenge of some description, so you just figure it out and get moving. I haven't, thankfully, been the victim of too much bullying or abuse lately, not as 0stella as a public figure. And I've had some amazing connections with people through social media. So it's been an indispensable tool for me, honestly, to run my business. I have had some stalkers, which also come with their silver linings, because I've made way deeper friendships with people in the music industry over reaching out to them and asking them how to deal with it. So there's something to be learned from everything. Everyone has their demons to contend with, and yeah, sometimes you just need very clear boundaries.
Everyone's different from what we were before.
Streaming services need to get their act together and pay the creators a living wage according to their sales. Cut and dry. It's black and white. There's no room for any other argument. If it's so imbalanced by that, there's really no sustainable business plan there, is there? Except for the fucking AI that's coming in. I just think it's bollocks, and yeah, something really needs to change. There is a lot of things happening in the background with entities that coordinate royalties for musicians. There's a lot of petitions going around at the moment. I do hope we're going to see something change in the very near future, because musicians can't afford to eat, and that's not right. Part of what I think needs to change is an awareness on the level of the consumers. I think more broadly, I think still a lot of people just don't know how little musicians are actually getting paid. It's a tricky situation because there's no really great mode for increasing revenue, I guess. Like, the consumer's not going to want to pay more for a monthly subscription. We all moan about our subscriptions going up, so I don't really know how they're going to do it. I really think, because I like using streaming services as a consumer, I really think the best way to offset it is to make sure that you're going out to live music, to actually give your money to the artist when they come through your town. Buy their merch, buy tickets, buy advance tickets to the shows, because that helps the artist to know whether they're going to be in the hole on that particular show or not. And so it relieves a lot of anxiety for the artist and their team when they're booking these things. Yeah. I also work with BAM Camp down in Calgary, which stands for Building Allied Musicians, and that is a music camp. It used to be called Girls Rock Camp Calgary, and we focus on reaching out to female youth, and we encourage them to get involved in music. And there's like 5 days of camp, and by the sixth day, they are playing live in front of a packed house at the Ship and Anchor in Calgary, and they've already written their own songs, they're performing their own songs, they're performing covers of songs. They've already performed live on radio and done radio interviews that week, and recorded at one of the most beautiful recording studios in all of Alberta, OCL Studios. It's phenomenal. I love working with them. (21st of February 2025, I am releasing my first full-length album on limited edition gold vinyl. The album is called Pendulum State, and it is the culmination of these last two mini albums, Free Fall and Skyward, come together, and there is a keystone song in the center of them that joins the two together, called Who Needs This, which is what the cycling tour in 2023 was named after. And I was so excited. I started making this in 2021 with Devin Lougheed from Altered by Mom, and the whole album is basically the genesis of it came from receiving a phone call in the middle of lockdown from a very close family friend who was in floods of tears, having suffered a very serious addictions relapse. And we were 5,000 kilometers away from each other, and I had no way to know how to help. And all I could do was offer to write a song for her in exchange for daily phone calls to let me know that she was safe and well. And so that's what happened for the next month. I wrote her a song every single day and got a phone call to say she was doing well. And she's now doing phenomenally well. And there was a lot that we had in common as well, because I was dealing with my own issues with drinking equally. So the album itself is designed around a pendulum swing, swinging from highs to lows, constantly back and forth, as is the general journey through addiction recovery, and I'm just so excited that her life is doing well. This album is coming out, and it's a total celebration of all things family and overcoming the greatest obstacles. I worked with Devin Lougheed as the producer and mix engineer on this. I co-wrote with lots of friends for different songs on this record. There's also Brad Kilpatrick, who played drums on it, Romano Danilo, who did Bowron, John Calverley, who did fiddle, phenomenal fiddle. He's also on the Little Yes, Little No EP as well, on that raging fiddle solo in the middle of Pandora. So good. Yeah, and then I had lots of guest vocalists come in and join as well. So yeah, it was a labour of love through pandemic times. Also done remotely as well. So Devin was in Toronto, I was in Edmonton, and we recorded the whole thing remotely between his studio and my studio. And we got to do 2 songs together in person once things started loosening up a little bit. So we did Scotti Agus Blochol Micheal, the Irish version, the Irish song. And what else did we do? We also finished writing Who Needs This, the Keystone song, together in his studio in Toronto, which was so much fun. There's going to be an album release show on the 8th of March in Black Bar in Edmonton, and then there's going to be a cross West Canada, a Western Canadian tour happening in late spring. It's a double headliner with Cupid's Heart from Saskatoon, and I am stoked to play with them again. There may also be some European shows on the horizon as well, so keep your ears peeled. Don't peel your ears, peel your eyes. Your ears to the ground, your eyes peeled for more information on that. The album is coming out on the 21st of February, but you can still pre-order your signed copy right now. You can go to 0stella.com and order it there. And the first 75 people to pre-order will also go into a raffle to win a huge, big, circular, custom-made, handcrafted charcuterie board from Safety Bear Wood Construction, Safety Bear Creations in Edmonton, and the whole thing is designed like a record, and there's a walnut centerpiece like the label of a vinyl record, and it's engraved with all the details about Pendulum State, and on the other side it has Little Yes, Little No, and there are 2 different layers of pink, one on each side. It's just the most beautiful thing. And to me, my cross-Canada cycle, cross-Europe cycles cycling itself is like a symbol of freedom to me, and movement and connection and community. And that's exactly what I want this charcuterie board to be for everybody as well, to be used by people and shared by friends, and stories to be shared across it, and all these beautiful things. So yeah, that can be yours if you pre-order Pendulum State. Of course, you can support artists in so many different ways. Liking and streaming their music is wonderful, but they won't get paid, but it helps show algorithms that they are popular and in demand. So if you don't have any pennies in your account, that's a really easy way that you can show your support for artists. Equally, you can like and share all of their posts on social media, share their stuff with friends so more people learn about the musicians that you like. that's so valuable to us. We need people to get the word out for us if you're liking what we do, because we don't have major labels behind us being able to do enormous amounts of marketing and get in the ears of every radio station across the world. Like, we just can't do that. We're little. So we need your help, and that is so incredibly helpful. And then if you have some pennies to rub together, buy our merch at shows. Come to our shows. Lots of bands have subscriptions now, like Patreon and that type of thing, fan clubs. So just automate that, throw it on your credit card, and it has honestly gotten me through some tours where I don't know if I've been able to eat the next day, and then that will come in and I'm like, oh yeah, of course, the fan club, amazing, thank you so much. You can book them for house concerts as well if you want. If you don't like crowds and you don't like loud music, but you love an artist and their story, you can reach out to them and you can ask them to come play your house, and you can invite your friends and family and curate who's at the show with you, and you will have a lasting, lifelong memory of this really intimate experience with this artist that you love so much. There's so many different ways. If you're ever stuck, just reach out to your artist and ask them how they need support. I had one guy reach out to me a few months ago after I fell off my bicycle, and he responded to an email. He was just on my mailing list. That's another thing you can do. Just join a mailing list for an artist so that you can have a direct line to them instead of going through social media, especially if you don't agree with the social media platforms. That's how you keep a direct connection with your favorite artist. And he reached out to me and he was like, how can I help you with this tour? And it made the tour. The tour would not have been able to go ahead if it wasn't for his help. There's so many different ways. And honestly, just dropping us a little DM, letting us know how much you like your music, because 70% of our working week is doubting whether or not we should continue, quite frankly. So please just let us know we should continue because you value what we do. That'll be great. Outside of playing music and writing music and marketing music, figuring out where to play my music, I do actually have the hobbies I'm amazed by. I love weightlifting. I love horse riding. I don't get to do that enough these days. I love snowboarding in the winter time here in Canada. It gets pretty cold. And I love gardening. The last 2 years with the Cross Canada cycle, I've not been able to grow any food in my garden, and it has broken my heart to see my garden just kind of go a bit idle, and it really hurts on the groceries and when I have to go to the grocery store. So I'm really excited to get back into my gardening this year. One of the greatest highlights, I think, so far for me has been playing a sold-out show in my hometown, September 23, in Whelan's, and having my whole family there, my friends, who have been supporting me since I was playing tennis rackets in my kitchen over dinner as a kid. And my dad turned to my mum and was like, we got to get this girl on the stage. And all of my friends who have been supporting and buying my records along the way, just being able to like come home and play a great show for them was really, really great. And then having Glenn Hansard walk into the venue after my show was done and being able to go up to him and thank him for the inspiration to cycle my bicycle across the country, because in fact it was a live stream he did during lockdown that kind of got the wheels turning, in fact, inspired me to do it. So I got to thank him face to face for that inspiration. And then he asked me to play him some songs. So we sat down in Whelan's in the windowsill, and he asked the barman to turn down the music, and he asked me to play him some of my songs. And Mundy was there next to him, and I just got to sit there and play my tunes personally for two of my biggest Dublin musical heroes growing up, so it was super special. And my mum was sitting right next to me, and my dad too, and that was really, really special.
You can try, but boy, you better keep out my way. Ooh, yeah, I finally found it. Now
Most embarrassing experience that's ever happened to me at a concert. Do you know, nothing really has jumped out at me. The first thing to jump out at me when I read that question was actually my experience when I was maybe 14, maybe a little younger. I was at Irish College, and you do like your end of Irish College talent show. And me and my friend decided that we were going to do a gymnastics thing, and we coordinated this thing to a song that we liked, and it was we didn't have any fancy gymnastics leotards or anything like that to wear, so we just put on swimsuits and put bicycle shorts on over, but I didn't have bicycle shorts, so I had to borrow a pair of hers, and she gave me some kind of rundown shorts from the bottom of her drawer, and we went into our final number, which was to do a forward roll into a straddle facing the audience, and I went into mine, and then she came behind me and kind of like spooned me essentially from behind, so I was the one facing the audience, and as I went and landed my straddle, my bicycle shorts ripped right open, and everybody in the audience stood up, pointed and laughed, and the boy I had a crush on was in the audience too, and I got up and ran out of that room as fast as I could. And fair dues to him, the cute little guy, he came running out to see if I was okay, and I was so embarrassed. I was a bit of a jerk to him. That's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me at a concert. Thankfully, I have not outdone that yet. Although I think there was maybe a nipple that got free at one point, pretty sure, in fact, but I wasn't embarrassed. That wasn't embarrassing. Of all the artists, living or dead, that I'd like to record with or perform live, I would love to perform with Freddie Mercury. He's who gave me the idea to be a singer in the first place. That's from my dead category. Or Chris Cornell. Living category, because I'm greedy, I'm not going to pick one from both categories. I'm going to do a bit from both. I would love to perform with Kelly Jones from the Stereophonics. I would love to perform with Shirley Manson and Garbage. Yeah, if I achieve those in my life, I would be delighted. Obviously, I'll have to wait till I'm dead to sing with Freddie Mercury. That's fine. My Desert Island album, depending on what was closest to hand at the time, as I dashed out of my house to get on in the car to get on the boat to be dumped on the island, would be either Grace by Jeff Buckley or From the Choir Girl Hotel by Tori Amos. Thank you so much for having me on your interview, Micheal. It's such a pleasure. I love being able to support all the great work that you do for the music industry and musicians across the world. I've thoroughly enjoyed getting to know you over the years, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of the support.